Welcome to Gear Wizard TV. Fuck it, let's live. Welcome, my friends, to Gear Wizard TV, where I have, for some reason, gone black. There I am. Let's light up indeed. JD is not here with us this week. We told you that last week. He is on vacation, visiting his parental units, I believe. But Jethrobot decided that he and I would stick around and have a talk anyway. We don't really have an agenda. We don't really have a plan. We don't really have anything to talk about. We're just going to get high and talk about whatever comes to mind. And if you were here with
I was already
live,
talking. I didn't realize I was muted.
if you're here with us live, join in the conversation.
Well, the last time I was here and we talked about nothing in particular, mentioned the Saw movies and the rights to them kind of being possibly for sale. And they are back in the hands of James Wan, the creator of the original Saw.
That is awesome.
So there will be a Saw 11, and it's not going to be what it was going to be. Who knows what it will be. So, hooray.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the originator bring it back. I hope he moves on it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Tobin ain't getting no younger.
Right. Well, of all like the horror movie franchises, I feel like Saw really set it, made it as difficult for themselves as they possibly could have. They really just set it up so it was like, how the hell are you going to keep sequel in this?
Yeah, because sadly you can't even pull a Jason on it, and then the supernatural thing happened.
Yeah, you have definitely centered your movie franchise around the idea that there is no supernatural at all. That it's that that the only supernatural thing is Jigsaw, a very sick man's mastery of time. That guy really knows how to multitask.
I think it's all about planning.
If only he had a Jonestown camp. Think of all they would have accomplished.
Well, he was kind of building one there at the end. It was a very small little team.
Yeah. A crack team of people who insist on justice.
Because they learned from the best.
Yeah, it just makes me, think more about, how I've really been thinking a lot lately about how, like, just, the ideas of like justice, fairness, karma, that these are all human conceits and that there's really no reason in this world to think that any of these things would ever happen, that there is any balance, or, well, maybe a natural balance, but as far as like, bad people paying consequences, I think that's a notion we'd probably be better off if we just gave up.
I think it gives one comfort, though, to have
Sure.
the belief, because there's damn little you can do about it in this world.
Correct.
otherwise.
Yeah. I just wonder if we just, kind of move more towards the idea that, justice is not, it's just a concept. It doesn't really exist. Maybe we'd be happier. I'm not going to start my own cult or anything,
I've considered it.
especially not going to start my own jigsaw cult, where everyone masters time in the way that Jigsaw masters time, because then they would rule the world. You know, you put one of those guys on each continent. Next thing you know, one world government, all Jigsaw, all justice,
It's jigsaws
all
all the way down.
all cutting off your own fingers for justice. Beautiful.
Or a type of penance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. You know, just spitballing here. If you, all right, I see this. If you were going to remake a movie, doesn't matter if it's been remade before or not, what would you remake and why? Like, what do you think you'd do?
Man, that's hard. But I'm going to go with something very fringe that was not very popular.
Oh, do tell.
There are, I think remakes should be reserved for those things where you look at a movie that could have been
Hmm.
amazing
Yeah,
and let's make it amazing. Instead of taking an amazing movie and making a really shitty remake,
yeah,
which is what happens more often than not.
yeah. Then just write like an inept love letter or just a series of studio notes that make no sense whatsoever. Yeah, usually it's garbage.
Or
Not always.
why?
Sometimes the
Though?
blob happens.
Yes, the Blob is the exception.
Well, it's not the only exception. I mean,
Though there's a few. I'm just saying
yeah,
those
but
are
yeah,
the
yeah.
exceptions
That's what it's
to
like. Yeah, yeah,
the rule,
yeah.
which is they're almost always horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can take a mediocre movie or better, worse, and make it awesome, now you got something.
Yeah.
So maybe the one about the guy that turns the guy into the snake.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Is he? I have seen that movie a couple times, and it is like truly fucked up. Like
Yeah,
for being like kind of a cheesy movie with cheesy effects, it's effective. Like it kind of gets under your skin. But
but now
remind me,
imagine that made with a budget.
yeah, is he doing that with like science, or is he's doing it with science, right? Not hoodoo.
No, he's doing it with science.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, he's a doctor of
yeah.
sorts. I haven't seen this movie in a long time.
Oh, are we gonna? Is it gonna pop? Is it gonna pop up next Halloween on Total Recall?
The thing about doing this on Total Recall is we know for a fact we need to plan it for a week when Babs isn't going to be around because Babs has already said she will refuse to watch it.
Oh, she did say that. Okay,
Yeah.
well there you have.
So there will be no Babs that week. But I think Adam wants to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I do recommend it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've seen it more than once and I really really loved it.
yeah,
It's just been a long time, so
yeah. And I think Yeah, I think you're right. I think that you could remake that movie, um, in a way that is like different and just fantastic. You know, um, if it were me doing that, I mean, you could let me know what you were thinking, but right off the bat, what I'm envisioning is actually a period piece that is kind of like greasy grindhouse late '60s kind of feel and era. Like a just kind of make it look like a local movie, sort of a little bit. I don't know.
It takes place at Snake Farm, but Snake Farm back then when it was a really sketchy, scary place.
Yeah, yeah, snake farms of old were gross.
But now I'm talking the specific Snake Farm in San Marcos, New Braunfels area.
Uh huh. Yeah.
That one. See, I went in that thing back before the new owners turned it into a respectable joint. Uh, Back in my 20s, we visited Snake Farm, and it was well worthy of the. I don't know if you've ever heard the Ray Wiley Hubbard song. Snake Farm just sounds nasty. Snake Farm pretty much is. Snake Farm. It's a reptile house. Snake Farm. Brrr. You've never heard this.
I don't think I have. I'll have to look it up
You
and
you
listen to
should. You
that because
should.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, he's telling me he dates a girl who works at Snake Farm.
Ah,
And
that's the story of the song.
yes,
So
and
what
it's a
would you
good
do
one.
with it then? If you had a Hollywood budget, what would your be like?
Well, again, it would be set at Snake Farm,
Mm-hmm.
except of old. We probably couldn't, use today, but you'd
Right.
rebuild
Yeah.
it. It'd be labeled like the Texas Chili House in Death Proof. Uh, People that know are going to know. So you got that Central Texas vibe, which right away you're talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre era. So you're going to have that same feel,
Mm-hmm.
period piece, still
Yeah.
Central Texas, uh, and go from there. Top of my head,
Yeah.
I don't know who I would want to direct it. Uh, Robert Rodriguez of a time, I think, could do something cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Robert Rodriguez today.
Yeah. I mean, there's several very good directors who seem to like working in you know 70s period sort of stuff. So I think you would have a pretty easy time getting someone attached to that. It would be fun.
But yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And no, I just double checked. There is no hoodoo.
There's no who, just science.
Just Strother Martin, a man of science.
Yeah, I remember hearing that they were going. At some point there was talk about remaking X, the Man with X-ray Eyes, which is like just one of my favorite films, and um, I thought like you could have a lot of fun with that. You could also like really make a terrible, terrible movie doing that. So I'm glad.
Yeah,
Guess I'm glad
how?
it didn't come to fruition. But if you are going to make it Hollywood, make sure you cast Nicolas Cage as the Ray Milland character, or I'll be real mad.
Yes, I would agree. But no, I see. That's not what you want to remake. It's awesome.
Yeah, Yeah,
All
I
you
mean,
got to
you
do
could.
is make yourself look bad 90% of the time.
Yeah. Well, I will say that the Death Artist, starring Anthony Michael Hall, which is a remake of Bucket of Blood, seems to like really stick to the original screenplay fairly faithfully. It's pretty fun. I think for a remake like that, as long as like you're having fun with it, um, that that's going to make it a lot more palatable for anyone who might be questioning your audacity at remaking a movie they like. Something like it. Just as long as it's fun, it's a fun time at the movies. If you can pull that off. Um, I think that because he himself uh, did a horror film remake, I think it would be okay to remake David Cronenberg's Scanners. Like, I really like the movie Scanners, but I've always thought that performance wise and tonally, it's uneven. Um,
No, I agree. You could totally do something with Scanners.
yeah,
Like if you told
it's
me you wanted to remake, I'm blanking.
Videodrome.
Videodrome. I'd say, yeah, no,
Yeah, so,
leave that alone.
yeah,
Uh, Scanners, fuck yeah,
yeah,
you could do some cool shit with Scanners.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it would at this point in time it would be topical. In fact, you could write in like an RFK Jr. type character and a Gwyneth Paltrow type character. Who is it that has the goop that comes out of her vagina? Who does that? It's a holistic.
It's not quite exactly what you're saying, but yes, that is Goop. That is Paltrow,
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth
So
Paltrow.
you have a Gwyneth Paltrow character, um, and yeah, like part of your storyline, could have anti-vax elements to it, like arguments, and like just like the many ways that society kind of goes nuts, and kind of bring that to the approach of the existence of scanners and the government drug that led to their creation, you know, and what to do about them and what to do about that drug. And of course, you're going to set up a sequel where it's like, it becomes a much wider scale military operation because the civilian aspect went bust. But, or I don't know, shove it all in one movie. What the hell? Be like
Keep it
90
short.
minutes, 90
Have a
minutes of
sequel.
speed.
Keep it short. Have a sequel.
Yeah. But, um, but yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that to really just expand, um, you know, uh, the original Scanners is also just very fish tank, like very small. Like they do go out in public at times, but it's even then it's still claustrophobic. But for the most part, from one set and one, setup to the other, it's pretty claustrophobic. Uh, you could, you could really blow that up. Just make it about, all of society.
I like it.
And, you know, and recent events. I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie Eddington, because it really seems to touch on some nerves, and appears to have created a pretty tense story out of it. I guess we'll see. But that and One Battle After Another, those are some movies I'm very excited to see this year.
I have done almost no research.
Hmm.
I don't know what's
Um,
coming up. I don't know what's coming out.
yeah. One Battle After Another is the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and it stars. It's his first time working with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who I'm torn on.
Oh, really?
Not so much his performances, but
Mhm.
I just find I'm not interested in about half of his movies, and then I really like him in the stuff I see him
Yeah.
in.
I mean, I think he's a very good actor. I do
he
enjoy his work when he's on. I should say, um, I do really enjoy his work. I have, like he definitely should continue working with Martin Scorsese as long as possible, because I feel like I don't know who won when he was nominated for The Departed, but his performance in The Departed is like, to me, I feel like it's mind blowing. He has such incredible moments in that movie. Um, yeah, and then decades later, he's in the that this their his most recent movie with Martin Scorsese, the freaking
Is that Shutter
Native
Island?
American. No, the Native
No,
American, whatever
I
that movie was called. But his performance in that, and he's like opposite Robert De Niro. You know, his performance in that is Killers of the Flower Moon is what it's called.
I did not see it.
His performance in Killers of the Flower Moon, again, it's just amazing. You know, and they are like, I is a very good performance and very different from other stuff that he's done. Because he's playing a powerful but, like, decidedly unintelligent, or not. You know, I don't know, just, yeah, a strong-willed but easily persuaded and dense, um, prepped for self doubt, like, or just self delusion. I mean, immediately prepped for self delusion,
He does a lot of self delusion
and yeah, and
characters.
his relationship to Robert De Niro, who just gets to be the syrupy evil bad guy, gets to just chew the fuck out of that scenery, with a plum, and like, not a lot of people ask Robert De Niro to bust out a Southern accent too often, but it's a real, like, menacing voice, and yeah, he's also great. But yeah, whoever took that Oscar from him in The Departed, they must have been a pretty damn good actor. Unless that's not how the Academy Awards actually functions. I've heard such things. I've heard tell of such things.
The the people that vote are not necessarily the best judges. in my
Hmm.
opinion, of film. They're, of a certain age for one thing. They tend to be very old. They like what they like. They don't always watch shit, and several of them have admitted it publicly. So they're voting on stuff when they haven't seen every performance. I wasn't interested in that movie, which is fine attitude if you're not voting on an award. Uh, and yes, a lot of times it's pure politics.
Yeah. Well,
Who?
he's just incredible in it. I feel like a lot of times the most amazing performances just are the ones that don't wind up getting the award, and it's always very
Actually,
unfortunate because
according
it's
to this list, he was not nominated for The Departed.
wasn't nominated.
No. He
Weird.
was nominated the year before for The Aviator, and he was nominated the year after for Blood Diamond. But he was not nominated in 2006.
Hmm. All right, have it your way, Hollywood of the past.
According to Wikipedia, anyway.
Well, I've never found any like glaring inaccuracies in Wikipedia. Hmm.
They tend to be temporary, but they do happen.
Cool. Have I ever asked you if you've ever come across someone putting root beer in their bong? Uh, I was told that a long time ago, and I've never actually tried it. But I was
I
told
have
to put,
never heard of anyone putting root beer in their bong.
yeah, I was told to put mouthwash in there, which at least makes somewhat of sense. But I always meant to investigate it, because like for all I know, it's some like of all the sodas, it oddly works for some reason. I don't know.
I've never put any soda in my bong,
Yeah, me neither.
and I don't think I want to. You would definitely need to wash the bong immediately,
Yeah, yeah,
or you're going to grow some funky shit.
yeah. You would want to rinse that bong right out.
There will be some funky stuff growing in there when you put plant matter
Well, you
in with
also have to
all that
assume
syrupy sugar.
that if you use it for a little while, it is then just going to get thicker, you know,
Oh God, yeah.
as you kind of slowly boil down, you slowly dehydrate it. So what's left can like almost become a syrup.
I saw that almost with water. It wasn't quite syrupy, but when I was very young, I spilled my uncle's bong, and what came out of it was
What came out of it got up and walked away. So
you
thank
could
you,
not
sir.
you could not see through it. Like it was no longer transparent.
Mhm.
Is that opaque? I'm not sure. But you couldn't see through it. It was dark green. It was nasty.
Yeah. I mean, I keep a bottle of tap water in the fridge so that the water is always fresh and cold. There's no reason to fuck around with, algae, whatever.
Keep your bong clean. Change your water.
Would you, for science, attempt the root beer bong?
For science,
I mean, I like root beer. If someone told me that's use cream soda or Big Red, or not cream soda, use ginger ale or Big Red, I'd be like, nope. But you tell me it's root beer.
I like root beer, but
Yeah, I
I
like
like
root
me
beer.
some Big Red too.
Well, no one's ever told me Big Red.
Well, I'm not in a hurry to put Big Red in my bong either, but I will drink it. I don't know that I want to inhale it.
Well, maybe in a future episode when JD's back, we can do some sort of weird taste test. Perhaps we can all go out and buy cheap ass bongs so that we don't feel bad about what we're doing.
Oh no, I'll do it in my good bong. I'm gonna clean it anyway, so
I'm just
I won't.
spitballing.
Yeah, no, I'll
Yeah,
totally do that.
it'd be a weird episode.
So, when you say root beer's the best for it,
Well, no, that's
defined by what criteria?
I am just trying to guess if that's why that specific soda was recommended to me. You know,
Oh,
like this is like an old fogey, um, and
you know what you ought
yeah.
to do is put some root beer in your bong.
Oh man.
Hang on, I am looking up. Oh no, this is a root beer marijuana soda, which is a thing. Mary Jones, and I'm reading the label by the way when I say root beer marijuana soda.
Yeah, I don't doubt. I don't doubt. I believe
It's
that.
just that's their wording,
Yeah.
which I find odd. But I'm not finding any reference to, hey, you should put root beer in your bong. Let me
Oh
let me try it
no.
again. Root beer in a bong. Let's go deeper.
In the ball. Um, yeah, you put mouthwash in there, so it makes it like a menthol cigarette. Who doesn't want to do that to their weed?
No, that does not sound good. I I did try because somebody else did it, and I was at a party, and it's like, here, take a hit off this, and it was
Mm-hmm.
tequila in a bong.
Oh, and what did you think of that?
I don't want to inhale alcohol. It's harsh.
Oh.
It was not pleasant. Uh, there may have been a little flavor added to it, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
inhaling alcohol. It was the purple ones taste like burning, you might say.
Yeah, what you should do is at least use like grenadine instead, like a
I would
torch.
think the lower the alcohol volume, the better,
Mm-hmm.
because it's when you vaporize alcohol, it's harsh. Or when you, and by vaporize, I just mean get it airborne. It
Mm-hmm.
is harsh and it is not cooling, and it is the opposite. Well, I guess it is a little cooling, but it is still harsh. And so it's a different burn. But now, other than that, I don't know that I've ever put anything in my bong except water and res block, which imparts no flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a big things in your bong water person?
Just ice cubes, baby. Just ice cubes.
Ice cubes are awesome.
Yeah. But like I said, I've really, you know, I use a small. The small bong, it's very easy to just replace the water frequently so that it's cold and fresh, and that's why you're using it anyway.
Yeah.
The water filters the smoke. It's a little more palatable.
Uh, yeah, I could find no legends on the root beer bong, so
Mhm.
we'll just have to believe it's the secret that this one guy came up with.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds like a story I would have heard from a guy I bought weed from a couple times in Austin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. Funky old guys. They're funny sometimes.
I would go to him because this friend of mine that was out of town uh, wanted me to get him swag because he liked to smoke a lot of weed, so he wanted volume. And this dude was the only dude I knew who would sell swag. Uh, he had a big, hefty bag that he kept in his dresser,
Hmm.
and he would just pull it out of that bag when you bought it. Uh, but he lived in an efficiency apartment, and it was completely decorated, every wall and the ceilings, with flags that he would buy at that flag store. And you know the
Oh
place I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. I know the flag store.
And so every time you go over there, he'd tell you stories about the different flags he had bought that week.
Yeah. Oh, he just liked buying flags. Huh? Well, good for
Dude,
him.
so many flags.
So
That
many
was his
flags.
thing.
Yep.
And he could tell you whatever one of them was. And you had to stay for like an hour.
Oh man, I feel like I know this person.
You had to stay for an hour.
like
And it's,
you know, there's been several times in my life now where I've just walked away from people while they were still talking because like that was the only way it was ever going to happen. It makes me feel bad. Walk away while someone's still talking. But if we've already concluded everything and established I'm going to be walking away, don't start talking. That's not fair. And if you do, I'll humor you until it happens. I don't know. What do you think is a good time? Second time? If it happens a second time.
yeah, just, well, I'm out. Gotta
I
go.
mean, yeah,
Bye.
that's what you do, but yeah, you're still, like we're still carrying on a conversation.
Yeah, sorry. Gotta go. I'm late. Adios. I can be blunt. So I heard, I guess we have not talked since, or did we talk? No, we haven't talked since the bill got vetoed in Texas.
Right? Yeah. Um, there was the veto, and Dan Patrick actually did throw even more of a temper tantrum in the next day or two, like which was pretty cool. Like he's done now. I think stop throwing that temper tantrum. But if It was nice while it lasted. Very Schadenfreude, and then we all the news can talk about right now is the tragedy that's occurred. And since Abbott has already called a special session, and he is the one who's responsible for dictating what will be discussed at the special session, what they're going to work on and pass. um, it seems like it would not surprise me at all if he 100% prioritized reinvestment in you know emergency awareness and weather forecasting, and uh, you know try and get that part of the wake of Doge put back together. Um, and I'm not pointing any fingers. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe
Well,
I
I
should.
think fingers
I don't
should be
know.
pointed.
Yeah, maybe fingers should be pointed. Sure, why not? But
People are asking, why didn't we know? Why
yeah,
wasn't there any warning?
yeah,
I could point some fingers there. I think
yeah.
I
It's
think
not a
there
good
should
look.
be.
Yeah,
It wasn't the weather predictor's fault. It was the lack of resources, maybe. Uh,
well, there will be investigations. Does I bet these things. Uh, it's really just it's just horrifying, and the idea that like people are playing games with legislation uh, is horrifying. It's like
well,
just
my
uh,
brother and his family were on the Guadalupe
yeah,
during all of it. Like they were separated from their kids by the wall of water. They were in two different cabins, and they lost a car uh, and so much else.
yeah,
But thankfully, everybody lived.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
have
and that's that's the most important thing, and it's a time like that that really make puts that into perspective, man. Yeah, just, but the reason why I did bring that up when we were talking about what Abbott will be doing with the special session is that you know I think because like for whatever reason Abbott decided he just couldn't hang with any outright hemp ban. Um, he may not want to have anything to do with it at all, and just have the special session that he wanted to anyway, and just have it work on what was really the headline stuff now, and whatever
instead
might
of
have
the
been inconvenient.
regulation.
Yeah, whatever might have been inconvenient for him. When I looked at what they were going to be talking about, it all seemed ridiculous except for the weed bill. It was like that was the only thing where you were like, that's probably what this whole special session is really about, you know. But I don't know. Maybe it seems like every session there's a there's a special session, and it's always about some crazy ass hot button issue. Yeah.
That's what they're for. That's when the governor gets to say, we're going to talk about what I want to talk about.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of the point. for good
But
or
yeah,
bad.
we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll, maybe they'll tackle it. Maybe they'll be like, you can do this, but you can't do that. You can do this and you can't do that. Then it'll be, the game of cat and mouse will be renewed.
I did hear that Texas expanded its medical program.
It did, yes. I don't know what all is included. I know they're trying to get chronic pain included, but I don't
They
know if
got
chronic.
chronic pain.
Okay, so there you
They got Crohn's disease and IBD as well.
go. Well, I believe I'm developing some pretty serious chronic pain.
Still no PTSD.
Uh, no PTSD. That's nuts.
No
No,
PTSD.
like, what a nightmare it would be to hear the conversation where those things are decided. Like, ugh, I don't know. But Texas, if what we're seeing happen right now is more than just baby steps, I really will be surprised. I feel like it's more likely than I have in the past. But we'll just see.
You still
But
can't
yeah, I
get
mean,
flour.
chronic pain is huge, huh?
You still can't get flour though.
You can't get medical flour.
No.
Oh, okay. We'll see. It is baby
The,
stuff.
dab pens
Yeah,
and patches, lotions, suppositories, inhalers have also been added.
suppositories, dab pens, and suppositories. We have a pretty exciting weekend.
Take a capsule. Dude, just give people some flour.
Right? Yeah. Get over it. But
And there will now be 15 dispensaries in the state as opposed to
15
the
dispensary in
3.
this. Yeah.
There's currently 3 in a state the size of Texas.
Yeah.
But
There's only one state the size of Texas.
those 15 dispensaries will be allowed to open satellite locations.
Good lord. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's it ain't great, but it's better than what it was.
Mhm.
Move to Vermont. We have a actually
Uh,
the medical program here is lacking in
yeah.
the sense that
No.
the access to
Uh,
weed is not great. But
yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, um, I can definitely, if I like as I get older, and perhaps have the ability to own a second home, you know, that I would definitely want it somewhere in the north. Um, well, you can't get much farther south than where I currently am. So obviously the north, but like farther north where there's like specifically pleasant springs and summers, or bearable anyway, more bearable, because I'll always come back here for the winter. Winter here is relatively easy.
yeah, the South has a great winter. Our winter is less great.
Yeah. But yeah, you know,
But oh my, is the weed good?
or an RV. You know, get an RV, put around the country.
I saw an RV come up for sale the other day on our little local thing,
Uh huh.
and it was one of the first times when I went, I kind of want that.
Yeah,
I want a smaller one.
yeah. I once looked at like an old '80s like GMC pickup that had a very large camper on the back, and over the top of the roof sort of situation. Um, and I mean, it was really nice. And I want to say it was really not that much.
No, and
But
those can be cool.
yeah, it probably got like 7 miles to the gallon or whatever. But like it was beautiful inside and out. The guy had only been using it to go fishing. He's like, "This is my overnight fishing." So um, it was real clean. He wasn't a partier. Something like that would be cool. But I also would not mind having something that was really big, really comfortable. Has one of those canopies, so you have like a traveling front porch.
Yeah, that would be nice. Uh, a bathroom.
Well, yeah, bathroom
I
for
like the
sure.
idea of having a bathroom, which you don't get with the little ones.
Yeah,
But there's a
I don't think
certain
I need. I don't know if I necessarily need a shower. Because when you're cruising around the country, you can always like get a shower at a truck stop or camping grounds. Like that's not quite as an immediate necessity as just having your own bathroom right there.
right, exactly.
So like yeah, shower's not a deal breaker.
But a bathroom would be nice.
I think bathroom's a necessity.
Well, we've got a pull behind camper now, and we
Oh,
do
nice.
we do not. It's just a teardrop, so it's
Uh-huh.
basically a
Yeah.
bed
Oh yeah,
with
I've seen them. They're
a
cool.
galley
Yeah.
in the back. Though we've got a stove, and if for
Oh.
some
Oh
place
yeah,
with
yeah. That I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's cool.
if there's some place
Those are
with
real
power,
nice.
we got
Uh-huh.
an air conditioner and
Yeah,
refrigerator.
it's real neat.
It's it's nice. I'd
Yeah.
like a bathroom, but this is easy to
Yeah.
move around. It's easy to tow.
hmm
It doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yeah, I want an RV that tows like one of those like Polaris 3-wheeler deals. That could be your get going to town vehicle and such when you're parking somewhere. I got plans.
I like a spider. Those are nice. You're talking about the one that's got the two wheels in front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's one where you kind of ride it more like a motorcycle, and then there's one where you're actually like sitting up front, um, and it's two-seater. So I don't know, like probably test drive them both.
Gotta see what Laura prefers.
Correct.
She want to ride in the second seat or she want her own ride? Although I guess if you're towing it, you can only probably pull one.
Eh, not necessarily.
You got a
Or you could, or
got a train going.
yeah, or you could, get a smart car. You know, might be able to find one of those like the original Honda Insight used. I don't know if that. I never really see those on the road, so I assume maybe they, for whatever reason, just didn't last. But you can get a smart car.
Yeah, I've never driven a
Me
I've
neither.
never driven a smart car, but they look
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I watched the instructional video once, but I never actually drove one. Um,
They look like a lot of fun.
yeah,
My neighbor, who
they
is
probably are.
he's like 6'2", 6'3", big guy.
Mhm.
Uh, he has one. He's got a smart car. It's camo.
He can get in that thing.
Yeah, he squeezes himself in, loves it.
Wow. So
I get
yeah,
a lot.
maybe something like that. You know, Um, but yeah, that would be one idea. I do look forward to being able to retire and kind of be my own boss and you know start doing multiple things. Hoping that maybe I'll make enough money, and if not, I can always just go back to work.
Yeah, I'm actually getting to the point where starting to have the thought of
Of retiring.
what am I going to do when I retire? Because it's not far
Right.
away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
now,
I'd
I
like
mean,
to write.
I know what I want to do.
Clean
Uh,
pipes.
I will have a little pipe cleaning station in my head shop,
Mm-hmm.
which is also going to have pinball machines.
Oh, that sounds a lot.
Whether
I
that's
I I think
doable
you
or
could.
not,
Yeah. I think
I'm not 100% sure I could cover rent on the building, but
people would definitely come on in though. That's for sure. They would.
yeah, there just ain't that many people here. That's where you get to be the problem. There just ain't that many people.
Hmm.
Unless I maybe go do it down in White River Junction.
How long of a commute is it to the campus?
Dartmouth,
Yeah.
15, 15, 20 minutes.
I mean, seems like that'd be, maybe best bet is try and get close to a college.
From what I could tell,
Uh huh.
the town where Dartmouth is
Uh huh.
does not allow head shops.
Ah. Well, there you go. You get as close to it as you can and be like last headshot before Dartmouth.
Maybe in Norwich. There ain't
Oh,
much go.
another thing I would love to do that I've always fantasized about doing is running my own hotel, which is horror themed. And you would have like I think it'd be really cool to do cabins, but I realistically you'd probably be purchasing an already existing hotel and turning it into your horror hotel. But you could get like goofy scary, scary or gory scary, you know. You have your choice of like how intense your room is.
I like it.
And and we would have, of course, we would have a bar with pinball that was horror movie themed as well. Maybe like I would like, maybe call it Elm Street or something, or Freddy's Place, and just have it like boiler room themed for the most part. You have an aquarium behind the bar, and it has chained up Jason in it. All
I
sorts
like
of
it.
cool stuff you could do. And yeah, I mean, I suppose you could even like try and think of things to make it more of a destination. Um, you know, if you want to be successful, you get a liquor license. That's probably the way to go right there.
Yeah, have a bar connected to it.
Yeah, we got outdoor movies in the back.
There's your hook.
Yeah, so anyone wants to, you know, go in on this investment? This is going to really go over like gangbusters. Like Entertainment Tonight will do an like they'll come out, and uh I don't know, Guy Fieri.
I do feel like there's a possibility of me buying a motel.
Oh, really?
No, I think it's my destiny. It kind of frightens me
Ah,
because, so to tell you why, I got to tell you an old story. But
well, I
I
don't have time.
I went to college to be
Uh-huh.
a computer scientist
Uh-huh.
and found out I could not write code to save my life.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, what am I going to do?
That surprises me.
Oh no, I suck. I suck at programming. I'm just horrible. So I decided I would become a psychologist
Hmm.
because of Bob Newhart.
Because of
Like I
Bob
really
Newhart.
liked the Bob Newhart show where he was a psychologist.
But it's not really a focus on his work at all, is it?
Kind of. It was him and his patients.
Oh, you
But
know what? I never
anyway,
said. No, no. I'm sorry.
uh,
I never saw that one. I never
yeah.
saw that one. So I,
But
I got.
that's
I'm
why I became a
following.
psychologist. And now I live in Vermont. And Bob Newhart had a hotel in Vermont. So I suppose that's my next step.
Well, as long as you know I get to give you input, you are welcome to take my horror hotel idea.
I'm not sure this is the
Um,
place to do that.
and I would call it the Motel Hello. Of course, like you're gonna have to have a lawyer at some point anyway, so you want to get that cleared and make sure it's
Yeah,
okay. But I can't imagine it. Like, how would they, you know?
somebody owns
Or
that property.
yeah, or if you just had a great name for a horror themed hotel, um, one of the rooms can just be Motel Hello, or you could have a cabin. I'd really like to have some cabins in addition to the actual, hotel. So,
So here's what'll get you. There's a chance that in the next year or two, there's going to be a little motel down the road from me go up for sale.
how many rooms? What kind of hotel?
Oh, it's not a lot of rooms. It's like a country roadside place. Like I don't want to say psycho, but
Oh yeah.
except for the big house, yeah,
Uh huh.
it's kind of like psycho. But
Wow.
it has no shit a drive-in theater.
What I just described? Whoa.
Now, again, the problem is it's in the middle of nowhere, Vermont. So it would have to be a successful destination place. People would have to come to Vermont to stay here.
Is that why they're selling it? Because it's just not
I think
successful.
they got old, and they're not selling it. They just didn't
Oh,
open the theater this year, the drive-in.
oh, I see.
Uh, so I think somebody got sick.
Ah, gotcha.
That's one of those things I'm seeing it potentially coming for sale soon, and
Hmm.
try real hard not to buy it.
Something tells me it wouldn't exactly fly off the market. You could start a Kickstarter and be like, help me start a horror themed drive in and hotel.
Yeah, it's just getting people to come here.
You could call it the Haunted Honeymoon.
But fuck, even just a regular hotel with a drive-in.
Yeah. Yeah. You could just, yeah, I mean, just have movie shit all over the place, you know? Yeah. All kinds of great stuff you could do with that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, does anyone ever come to this hotel?
I think they get a little business, just people visiting the area for
Hmm.
family visits and they need a place to stay. They
Hmm.
probably get a little spillover, maybe from Dartmouth. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
not very big. There's not a whole lot of rooms, but I have seen people there. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
that would be one of
Well,
those deep
it.
dives if it ever gets to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it. Yeah. It. Attractions. Creating an attraction. That's very. This could be dicey.
That's a lot of work.
I would love
I'll,
making like the goriest room. Like you're not allowed to stay there. No one under the age of 18 can enter.
got
You
to
could
sign a
even have like,
disclaimer.
yeah, you could even have like, the goriest rooms are themselves behind a door that apes the poltergeist door. So it like throbs with light while it has all that weird goo shit all around it.
Am I gonna have to replace the goo every day?
No, no. It's like spray foam goo that um you've shellacked to a degree that it stays pretty shiny. Plus, like the poltergeist goo, it had a variety of textures. It was stringy as well. It was, it's different stuff going on. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it all. I would definitely have to hire someone to help, but could definitely, could do some of it.
I
But it
know
would just be
people.
fun, Yeah, it would just
Oh,
be
it'd be a
fun
lot
to
of
have
fun.
them. You've got the portion of your hotel that you could welcome kids to, you know. Maybe you've got like a ghost shaped kiddie pool. Wouldn't that be precious? And then your cabins, they have hot tubs or something, like they really can be like kind of a haunted honeymoon type situation, or Airbnb or what have you, like something a little bit more like that. But yeah, there's a lot of
Jason's
stuff.
gonna wake you up at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, Well, that'd be the other thing is that then you automatically would do like a haunted house. Like hopefully you have enough extra grounds around the area that you could do some manner of haunted house. Maybe you close a couple rooms specifically to do that or something. I don't know, but so yeah, every Halloween you're then a destination in that way as well. And October is perfect drive-in when you know horror movies belong at the drive-in. I would I would call that part of the place the dead end drive-in. There's just like no way you wouldn't be able to call it that. You would have to.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
I don't know. The head shop would be a lot less work.
Yeah. Well.
And I would have
Yeah,
a
but
lot.
once you got it going and you were actually at the point where like you were like just no longer a part of the line staff, that would be pretty great if you could have managed that. I don't know if you could really, but if you could, if it actually did become a destination, you know, people suddenly you're booked in advance, shit like that. A man can dream.
A man should dream. And there are people who could pull that off, I am sure. Terry.
Yeah. I would love to do like a weekend festival of heavy metal, pro wrestling, and like horror movies where it, find a spot where you can do all three in one place.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I went to a thing that
Everyone
did
would like
two
it.
of those.
Yeah, everyone would like it, you know. Um yeah.
Who was it? It was one of the guys from Pantera. Did one of those where it was heavy metal and a horror movie uh, festival for the weekend.
hmm
And it was at the New Emos. I remember it because Phil
How did
Mucci
they
came.
oh, they have that huge curtain, so I guess they could show movies on one side and music on the other. But you
And
really
they
would
had,
not be able to experience the movie at all.
no, they had some tents outside where they were showing some of the movies. It wasn't well done, but the idea was there.
Yeah, I would definitely want to make sure the movie element, was successful. And it would also just be fun to do like the movie element all night. Like if you could find some place where you could manage all this and have access to campgrounds. Like if you did it at like the Ren Fair, where they do a Ren Fair or something, where you could have people camping out as well. You could just wherever you're having movies, just have movies all night.
You could do that out
And
at Sherwood Forest.
yeah, yeah, you could look for investors, put something together, see what the specs could be. Talk about music groups. Like they usually, I've never done anything like that before, but they usually have like slots of what they can pay, and then like there's just various bands, that are in those slots or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure it'd be a lot of work.
Oh yeah, you would need somebody that knows how to manage that sort of thing.
hmm But yeah, like you said, Sherwood Forest. If you could get, you know, if you could get the sort of investors together where you could rent that.
Rent that, pay some bands, probably get vendors.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there'd be a lot of work. And if there's one thing you got to make sure of, it's that you have enough porta johns. You gotta have porta johns.
But see, there's already somebody that's got the Porta John hookup
Hmm.
at Sherwood Forest. They just slide you a name and go, here's your Porta John guy.
Mm,
Might
okay.
even might even be able to get some of the same vendors.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's you never know until you try and check it out. But I think those three things specifically, could definitely draw a big drive. And then, like, you could have other stuff, like you could have tattoo artists. You could have, I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of crossover
Yeah.
in those fandoms.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if anybody does like sideshow circus stuff anymore. Like that'd be, stuff like that would be cool. Or magic. Yeah. So, some magicians. Throw that into the mix. But like it wouldn't have to like primarily be like a music festival. You could probably just have like one stage, you know. But the idea would be like both the music and the pro wrestling is outside, so that you are watching like pro wrestling to live metal, like you will have the choice of like, do I want to like focus on the wrestling or do I want to focus on the band sort of thing, like in my fantasy world.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
I
It, do you know anything about Sherwood Forest? Like, does it get rented out often? Because like Sherwood, rent fair is only like a month, if even, out of the year, right? Or is it
Yeah,
two
but they
months?
make a lot of money during that month. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it gets rented out much. It
Mm-hmm.
might.
Yeah.
Like I never heard of a lot of other things going on out there, but that's been a long time ago too.
Yeah. And there's got to
So
be like, yeah, there's other like very large grounds. As long as you can like make sure that the insurance can be in order and all that. You definitely have to have a lawyer.
yeah, that place is nice though because they have some infrastructure.
Right.
Like I think like for vendors, they're gonna have some hard shell buildings.
Yeah, it would be very nice to piggyback.
They got a campground,
Uh,
parking.
yeah. You could also, I mean, uh, the event center where they have the rodeos, you know, like they sometimes have other stuff happen there. And, you could pull it off there too. You could just turn that giant barn into a theater.
Oh yeah, that would totally work.
And they have a bunch of, like outdoor, paved outdoor. It's not parking or doesn't have to be parking. So you'd have a lot of options, you know. You could
Yeah,
probably have the stage. a considerable distance from the building, and maybe like really make that aspect ideal, you know,
And still have plenty of room for the wrestling ring in
in
front of the
between. Yeah,
stage. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if you
I
run
feel like
across
the
the money, I know a guy that could organize that.
um I mean, I feel like the wrestling part would be the easiest part, because like there are so many like already established local wrestling, uh you know uh, around Texas and around in neighboring states, and they already crash each other's gigs all the time.
And one of
So
them is owned by a guy who used to book bands.
uh-huh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say like the best one that I go to, like absolutely fantastic show that he puts on. Um, you know,
And yeah, he
but
booked a club for years.
mhm,
But
yeah,
he knows how to organize shit. Like that's what he does. So you just got to find the money. That's always the hard part.
and you'd call it Holy Shit Fest.
I would come,
Yeah.
no question. I went to the wrestling when it was at Fun 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 Fest,
Hmm. Yeah, that's that was good stuff.
but it was
That
too
was
early
good
in the
stuff.
day. It
Yeah.
should have been going on when there was more metal.
Yeah, and if you did do it at Ren Fair, maybe you could hire the guys that do jousting, and because there's a jousting track out there, and there's horses trained for it that these guys already have. Or do they like travel around going Ren Fair to Ren Fair? Like how does exactly does that work?
There are levels
Yeah.
of that. So, like the Ren fairs up here, only one of them gets the low rung of traveling folks.
Hmm. Yeah.
So there's the one that where you're primarily local people, and then
Hmm.
you get the level of people that do a little bit of bigger Ren fairs,
Hmm.
and then you get the ones that go like if you go to the one down near Houston, you see the guys that get big money to go to the big Ren fairs that have the huge campgrounds and go for 5 6 weeks at a time. When I left, Sherwood Forest would have been at the next level down from that one. So those folks probably travel, but you could probably still get them too. If you planned ahead and you wanted jousting, you could get some jousters.
Yeah. I would have to imagine that we could do that here in Austin.
Oh yeah, you could totally get some jousters.
Even if you don't get a Ren Fair location, even if you just get some other like very, very large outdoor events, center, it'd still be cool just to get jousters.
It's metal.
Um, yeah, it's absolutely metal, you know? Um, yeah, just be great.
Bring in some Vikings,
Maybe you would want two stages, you know?
because what's more metal than Viking reenactors?
Right. Yeah, do people, I assume people Viking sword fight too, right? Stuff like that happens too, probably.
I am sure those things happen. They
Hmm.
probably happen more at the Viking festivals. where they get serious about the Viking shit. But you could
Uh-huh.
definitely hire those guys to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closest to that, there's a troop that goes to New Hampshire called the Brotherhood of the Sword and Arrow. And they're not quite Viking level, but they're definitely close. And they get out there and swing swords at each other. Yeah, but they're not doing it in the plate mail like the medieval guys. So there's all these levels, which is what makes it kind of fun. We'll be going to the main Renfest next, not this weekend, but next weekend. And
Mm.
I think this time, Tara's definitely going 3 weekends. I may or may not, depending on how much work my guy has for me and how much I just want to stay home and
Hmm.
not sleep in a camper.
Oh shit, dude! You know what else? You at this festival, you're also you got to get a slingshot. Um, I don't know if you would want
The
too
human
many carnival.
slingshot?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want too many carnival rides, but it would be fun to have something like that. You know?
That's extreme, I think.
Yeah.
That one might be hard to pull off.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
I
what
don't
it takes to.
actually, like I don't know how much it costs to rent like midway rides. Like if you were just like they always have, midway games too. Like, is that part of the package? They're like, we're not setting up the rides without the games, or I don't know, but it'd be cool just to have like a few rides.
Yeah, I don't I don't know if you can get those as a mini deal or not.
Hmm.
Like just give me 2 rides. I don't know how that works.
Right. Yeah. I just want the octopus and the tilt-a-whirl and the gravitron. Oh,
I
and the bobsled or what? Yeah, the bobsled. Yeah, get that bad boy too.
I used to run a tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah.
I did.
What's the craziest vomit you've ever seen? Like
Oh
anyone ever
dude,
like really shoot vomit
all the time.
all the
Cuz
time?
so most of those tilt-a-whirls you get on, the guy just pushes a button and it runs.
Yeah.
And then he turns it off. I had a throttle. I had a little rope that went to a throttle. So I could juice the ride whenever I wanted to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
The
so I could,
bobsled works that same way too. The thing that just goes
yeah.
round and round, that goes up
So
and down. Yeah.
I could pick out a car and
Uh
I
huh.
could put it into a death spin where it would just
Oh,
wah, 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 continuous.
holy shit.
And I got some people to puke so big. Have to bring out the hose and hose it down. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I could also put your car on the edge where it would never spin.
Yeah.
Just give you the worst rides you ever had.
Wow. That's I had no idea you had so much control with the tilt-a-whirl panel. That's
Sometimes,
fascinating.
if you have a
That's
throttle,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, you can learn how to make that thing dance.
Oh god, that's cool. That's cool.
It was
Well, yeah, like
awesome.
certain yeah, certain rides like that where it could go faster, it could get wilder. It's just yeah. Um, you could have the Church of Satan come out. You could put up a tent for them. They could have a Baphomet and just some some informational stuff about their cause. That's very metal.
It would seem to fit. And what the hell? Throw in some pirates too. Because pirate metal's a thing.
We don't have to. We don't have to represent every single facet of metal.
But who doesn't love a good pirate?
Yeah.
Tony Salvaggio wants to start a Running Wild band himself.
A Running Wild band.
Yeah, that was his reference. Running Wild was the original pirate metal band.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. They started the whole thing, and then Ailstorm kind of took it to another level.
All right. Well, I'm going to contact him right away and let him know I will be in a pirate metal band. No doubt about
You should, because he was talking about it literally the other day. He's like, I got to find a pirate metal band. I'm like, you should do it.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would.
reach out to him.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Do something different with pirate metal.
That there would be no question of.
I saw an acoustic pirate metal band last year, and they were a lot of fun. The Dread Crew of Oddwood. But I know that's not really your thing.
I would absolutely do pirate metal. No doubt about it.
I
Do
think
it
you should.
fast. Do it slow. I'm I could not possibly be more signed up. I will buy pirate clothes tonight.
Pirate metal theremin.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
There's your first song, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Pirate metal theremin.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to do like, I would want to have some pretty grisly lyrics, but I would also want to write a song about how much Yellowbeard sucks and how sad that makes me. I could probably write a song about how great Marty Feldman is.
A separate song?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll write a song for every single pirate movie, every single one. Use you. Those are your song titles, the titles of pirate movies.
I love a heavy concept band.
But you wouldn't even tell people, like someone would have to figure it out.
Wait a second. Are these all pirate movies? What are you
Well,
trying to pull?
yeah. Well, I feel like I should probably get going. It is a school night. But
It is a
and
school night, and I have to teach.
yeah, well, enjoy your teaching. Have fun.
Thanks for hanging out.
I had a great time. I enjoyed the stuff we talked about, and I look forward to us opening a hotel It's also a drive-in that occasionally houses a metal wrestling horror film fest with jousting, magic, and rib shots.
Wacky sound effects.
Whoa, you are such a clown. What a clown you are.
Who doesn't love a good wacky sound effect? Well,
Yeah.
with that, folks, we will wish you good night.
Yep.
We
Thanks
may
for
come
joining
back,
us.
but until later, tune in at an undisclosed time and date
Yes.
to see
Soon.
the crew at Total Recall. Our next film is going to be
So I married an axe murderer.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Hmm. It's Scottish.
It's very Scottish. There's haggis, poetry, and
Kilts.
at least one kilt. Maybe many.
Hmm.
But until we see you next time, have a night.
Someone's going to get killed.